the director of the QA department, she said that after the first 5 minutes, they were all talking in the chat of the Zoom. So.
Multiple companies were fighting for you.
Yeah.
Multiple teams within this company that gave you an offer were fighting for you.
Yeah. We're definitely hiring her. We're going to hire her.
Let's actually share at least one secret so they would know how to be on the top.
But still making 6 figures. If I can do it, you can do it.
Good afternoon, QA engineers and those who are planning to become one soon. This is not a green screen. I'm actually on the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the beautiful state of Georgia, about an hour away from Atlanta, where one of our graduates live. She is quite an amazing person. She did beat a record of age in our bootcamp and probably in majority of the bootcamps, I could say. Anyways, she's a little bit over 40, I'll say it that way. I'm not sure if she wants to share the exact digit, but you're about to hear her story, how exactly she was able to transition from a teacher in a school to QA engineer or even QA automation engineer. I don't remember, but we'll find that out in a couple of minutes. But before we do that, you know the drill. You gotta hit this big fat thumb up button below. You gotta subscribe to our channel and also follow our Instagram and Telegram communities, links to which you can find right there. All right, let me quickly remind you who I am and then we're gonna get started. My name is Sergey Kromchenko. I'm a software QA engineer, lead manager, and a senior engineering manager of SDAT in the past, but these days I'm helping people like you to become a QA engineer from scratch or to improve your existing skills. I'm a founder of Codemify QA Bootcamp. All right, let's get started.
Previously, we were in Marietta, which is a western suburb of Atlanta. And we lived there for maybe 12 years. And then my husband got a job opportunity out this way, and we moved. But we didn't come here right away. We were just like, oh, let's live in the area for a while, see where we like, and then we'll buy something. As I was saying earlier, this house was a bank-owned property, but luckily it was not in bad repair at all. Just maybe a little, most of it was outside, just like we had to replace some siding and paint and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we saw the potential and moved in. My husband fell in love with the yard. And of course, I like the house, so I like the yard too. That brought us to this house, and it's close for him to work and close to the highway. So if we ever want to go, like to Atlanta or wherever we want to go, it's close. Yeah. So, but you know, we're not now. My husband's from LA, so. Oh, nice. And I lived there for a while too. So like we're used to driving, we don't care, you know, like, oh, hour and a half, okay. But we're enjoying it out here. It's so quiet, so peaceful. But at night it's really dark. People come and they're like, where are the lights? There are no street lights, no, you know, no noise.
So you work remotely, huh?
I work remotely.
So you work from the beautiful house right there?
Because I didn't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay here. So if I want to come out here, I can work. But yeah.
I feel you. Look at those animals right there. Do you want to tell us about your career? How did you, well, before we even get to QA, what did you do before?
Before, I was in education, teaching.
Just like me, huh?
First, yeah. First, I taught my kids at home, and then I went into the classroom. I taught 3rd and 4th grade.
Whoa.
And, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. The kids at that age, they still like school. They're still excited. So that was nice. And really, I was affiliated with that same school for, well, I guess I'm still affiliated with them. But anyway, it's been about like maybe 6 years by this point. But I enjoyed it. And I really, I'm glad I did that. You know, in the end, though, I kind of got tired of the kind of like the bureaucracy and all the paperwork and all the other things that you have to do besides teaching, being in the classroom. So I said, oh, okay, I'm going to look for something else to do. And, you know, I came across, or maybe it found me, I don't know, a YouTube video about QA. And I was like, okay, I want to look more into this. So the more I looked into it, I thought, maybe this is a good fit for me. And I like the opportunities that you have. It's not a guarantee that you'll find a remote position, but there are possibilities. So so that's what got me into it. And I kind of took that kind of introductory course and realized I really did like it. And the thirst for more knowledge took me to Codemify. Yeah, so I like to learn.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome. How long
new
have you been
things.
teaching for?
Well, if you count my own children, almost 20 years.
For 20 years,
Yeah.
almost. Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Should we sit there or should we
Yeah,
just
we
walk?
can.
And while you guys are enjoying this video, I think you forgot to hit this big fat thumb up button below. Subscribe to our channel and also share a comment right below this video and tell us, why are you enjoying it or not? Anyways, one more thing for you to know is there are a lot of people like Pam who were afraid to start their career, to change their career, because they were not sure if, hey, can I do it? Am I going to like it? Am I actually going to be able to make it or not? So here's the thing, for those kind of people, we've started 1 week introduction course where you can study with us for an entire week with the live webinars with this guy and our mentors, and internship in a US-based startup only for 20 bucks. So if you do want to give it a shot, if you do want to try, if you're going to enjoy this career and this bootcamp, I'm going to leave a link for you right below this video. Okay, let's continue. So you found us on a YouTube or Google?
I found you on Google because once I had QA on my radar, then I said, okay, let me see what else I can find out. So
Yeah.
I Googled
Got it.
at
And
that point.
why us? Let me make an advertisement. Why did you like us?
Yeah, so I had already taken the introductory course, so I had something to compare. But
That was
I
introductory
really
course with someone else, with different
with
bootcamp.
someone else, yeah. And what happened was I got to the end and started the job application process. And I realized, even though they say they want manual QA, they're looking for you to have a little bit of automation experience. So I said, okay, I think I should learn some automation just to make myself more marketable.
Yeah.
So that's specifically what I was looking for, like another course where I can learn automation. But what stood out about Codemify was the real world experience, that I would leave the course with experience already.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
what drew me
Yes, we made it.
yeah.
That's actually a great question because I've never had anyone comparing our course with different bootcamps.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
yeah.
please tell us the differences? 'Cause we're
Yes.
not naming anyone here.
One of the differences you mentioned yesterday is the interview process. The other bootcamp waited until the very end to start going over the interview questions. And by then there were like hundreds of questions and it just looked overwhelming and,
Yeah.
Whereas even from the beginning, first week, second week, Codemify has you going over those questions a little at a time. So you kind of build on it throughout the time.
Yeah.
So that, by the end, you feel very comfortable and very confident with your knowledge, being able to explain.
Exactly.
Because it's one thing to understand it, but
It sounds like an immigrant. You understand English, but you cannot speak.
it's a different skill set, really, it is. Yes, and another thing I liked about it was the weekly sessions where we got together on Zoom to talk about the course or get quizzed on what we learned, or just to touch bases with. The other course was self-study,
Yeah.
and then they had like calls available where it was just like
If
you
you
could
need.
call in
Yeah.
for different things. But this was kind of like a set structure, like scheduled times.
Yeah.
When
So
you could.
that was pretty much self-education, and you were not part of the group, or were you part of the group in different bootcamp? You were not. I think that's the
No.
weakness that a lot of bootcamps for some reason have. They don't gather people. Maybe they're afraid that they're going to say something, but I have no idea. But when you are jumping on a call with your classmates, you're getting so much more motivation. You're picking their brains.
Yes.
You can understand what that person understood, and that person can grab your knowledge. So that's you kind of go through the same thing a couple of times, and you understand it better then.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice too to have those peers as you're going through the program to talk to, say, are you, experiencing the same thing? Kind of like camaraderie and, you get
What did
together.
Angel call that? Weekly, not a study sessions, but
Therapy.
weekly therapy sessions.
Yeah. Sometimes it was.
Awesome. All right. So you went through the boot camp. You enjoyed it. You did
Yeah.
enjoy something. You went through a lot of interview prep, a lot of startup experience, hands-on experience,
Yeah.
and then what was the most challenging?
I think for me, now the course is challenging, but for me, the challenging part was the job application process. To me, that was the most challenging because it was kind of, we were coached, we had resume coaching, the interview prep, even coaching with LinkedIn and those kind of things. But still, the job market is one way today and another way tomorrow.
Exactly.
So
It's
you
real.
really had to tweak it as you went along. There was no like real preparation that would make it like 100%.
Yeah, there's nothing that can make you 100% ready because
Right.
you're in the different states, you're in the different
Right.
countries,
Right.
and it depends a lot on it.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
So that was like a trial and error thing. Like by the end, I knew exactly what I should do.
Yeah.
But it was over.
How long did it
So
take you to get a job?
It took me 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I will say I was picky. So,
look at her.
had I not been as focused on and what I mean by that is I only applied to certain positions.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a certain thing and that's all I applied to. I didn't necessarily apply to every single thing.
Yeah.
So I did not apply to any jobs that were not remote
Yeah. Makes sense.
because I didn't want. And I did have people calling me, recruiters calling me for those positions, and I was like, no.
Only remote. I like this area right here.
Yeah. So, I was kind of picky like that. So I think it probably took me longer because of that,
Yeah.
So.
A lot of you guys have asked me how to improve your English because you want to become a QA engineer, but you were not born in the US or in England, or English is not your native language, but you do want to become QA. So, especially for you, I've created a YouTube channel, link to which you can find right here, so you could improve your English, where I explain how exactly did I improve my English, how did I learn it, what exactly did I do to improve my grammar, to vocabulary, and mainly articulation or clarity of speech. Anyways, it's right there, and we're going to continue. Interview process. How many rounds did you have? What kind of questions they've asked?
Yes.
How did it feel like for the first time getting a job offer? All of that.
Yes. When I was interviewing for the job I have now, I was interviewing for 2 jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
And they each had about 5 rounds. They were both pretty similar as far as the way that they were conducting the interview process. And 2 of the rounds were like the next round was dependent on how I did with the take-home assessment. So they would interview me and say, okay, I'm going to email you this,
Yeah.
And after the first one, I'm thinking, okay, that was it. And no. Then I had another one. The first one was they were like, oh, yeah, we just use that to screen people out. I was like, okay. So, yeah. So that was how that went. And then the company that hired me, they sped up. So I think there would have been at least one more interview. But they condensed their last interview into one interview because they knew that I was interviewing with someone else so that they could hire me or, offer me a job before the other company or before I made a decision.
Yeah. So they were fighting for you.
Yeah. So they were, I didn't even, it was a surprise. Like I was a little nervous because I get on Zoom and now there's 3 people and I thought it was one person.
Yeah.
But they said, oh yeah, we decided to just put the interview all in one so we could do it, quicker. I was like, okay. But it was fine. It was a really good interview. And I found out after the interview was over that the director of the department was one of the people in the interview.
Oh.
And she said that after the first 5 minutes, they were all talking in the chat of the Zoom saying, we're definitely hiring her. We're going to hire her. Do you want her? No, I want her. I want, so I was just laughing. I was like, are you serious? She said, oh, yes. So what you say about the first 7 seconds or whatever it is true. Like, it's really true. I don't know. I have no idea what I said. Like,
I was gonna
I
ask
don't
you,
know.
how come?
At the first 7 seconds, I don't know. But
Yeah, you show your personality, you show your energy. Even when I came here, I'm like, bam, good to see you. I don't know, that's just the feeling of energy of the person. You know,
Oh,
as soon
yeah.
as you see person, you feel if it's the right fit or not. Especially when person starts talking, you can feel either the confidence or the fact that the person is scared or something. And you're always like, hey, good afternoon, everyone.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, maybe. I just was surprised afterwards, when she said that, but happy,
Yeah.
of course.
So multiple companies were fighting for you.
Yeah,
Multiple teams within this company that gave you an offer were fighting for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, and it was so nice. Like after such a long, like 4-month period, and
Yeah.
every day just applying, applying. So that was really, really nice way to end it. And I thought I was going to take the other job.
Oh, wow.
Like on paper, I
Why
like
so?
that one better.
On paper.
And then once I talked to like the first person at that company, I thought I liked it better too.
Yeah.
But in the end, this company won. I liked it better. So
Yeah.
you never know. You
Wow.
never know.
That's awesome. So how many interviews did you have total before you got this job?
With different companies,
Yeah.
I'd say about 12.
12 different companies.
12 different companies. Yeah.
That's cool. 4 months being picky.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say probably all the interviews, maybe there were 1 or 2, but most of them happened within the 3rd and 4th months.
3rd and 4th.
As I was refining my process
Yeah,
of
yeah. Exactly.
applying and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is magic.
Yep.
And
yep.
when you get LinkedIn, that's when you start hearing all.
Want to keep it up to date. Let's actually
Yeah.
share at least one secret, because we've got quite a few, but let's share at least one secret with people so they would know how to be on the top, let's say LinkedIn.
This isn't really new, but
Yeah.
you really, when people say, go ahead and make at least 500 connections or 500 connections or more is best, do it. I'm telling you, when I got to just over 500 is when I started getting recruiters reaching out to me more.
Yep.
And it really is best to go with the recruiter. The recruiter can just hand your resume. Whereas if you apply, like maybe of those 12 interviews, I think 3 were from actual applications. The rest were from recruiters.
Whoa.
That emailed me or reached out in LinkedIn or maybe from Indeed or Dice. And at first I was kind of like, why am I doing all this applying? And this is because I kept looking at the stats like every week. And, I'm like, I'm not really getting anything from all these applications I'm doing. But it was necessary because I think it prompted me to refine the process. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's especially good to chat with recruiters because every one of them will ask you to refine your resume for the specific company, usually because they want to sell you to that company.
And I was doing that anyway, like maybe, I don't know, halfway through the process, I started doing that.
Nice.
Like every time, take the job, just like you said, take the job description, plug it in ChatGPT, put
Match
the
them.
resume in there and say, hey, can you help me? So that was really good. That was a very, very good practice.
All right,
to
so
follow.
2 tricks for you guys already. That should be enough tricks-wise. Not too many. One by one. You got a job offer. You've been working for a while. At the current position, are you doing any test automation yet?
Not yet. Their plan is to go to automation in the future. So right now, the big company initiative is they're changing from an older system, like outdated system, and trying to bring everything onto the new system. So right now they have 2 systems going. And once they get all that migrated, then they'll be ready for the automation. So
All right,
we'll see.
let's ask you one question. What would you change if you would start again? Would you change anything if you would start your QA career again or your path to QA again?
Well, maybe, for sure, for time's sake, I would have just gone to Codemify and skip the other one. But, because it really had everything that I needed. I started, even though I had taken that course, I totally did the manual course. and the automation course with
And
Codemify.
she did not tell me that she did take another bootcamp before us. I did not know that until I actually arrived to Atlanta a couple of days ago, where we hosted QA meetup.
Yeah, yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did though, because there were things that would have been required, or like I would have had probably some challenges, more challenges in automation process if I hadn't done that, because there were things in the other course that I didn't learn that you were teaching. So So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, and usually what I recommend to our students before they go for the course, if you guys ever decide to change your life, regardless of the tech or non-tech, start learning on your own before you go for the course. That's what that's what you did with the other bootcamp, but a lot of our students are signing up early, getting 10% discount, just FYI, and getting materials for pre-education so you could start learning before you go for the course, so you wouldn't waste your time.
Yeah.
And that's what works the best, just like in your case.
And I think too, I probably would have maybe done it like a few years sooner, maybe, if I had it to do over again.
Yeah.
Probably maybe like 5 years ago, maybe.
Nice.
Could have been making money 5 years more.
For 5 more years?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't you want to make more money for 5 years?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, any recommendations for those youngsters who are looking at us right now on YouTube, or for those, is it a hawk or eagle?
Probably a hawk, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Any recommendation? It's just too freaking beautiful here. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think I would recommend, especially for younger, like if you're college age, don't go to college. I shouldn't say that. You don't need to though.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't need to. If you have a willingness to learn and you are interested in tech, even though it's not extremely technical, but you're interested in getting into the tech field and you have time and a computer, you can learn QA. And even though I didn't really, my position is not an automation QA position, not yet, but still making 6 figures. So if I can do it, I'm telling you guys, if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Thank you so much for such a motivation.
You're welcome.
And hopefully I'm going to come back here in a few years to see you again.
Anytime.
Record an interview when you can become a QA manager.
Oh, we'll see.